With that, we're going to move on to the last question of the segment, and then we're going to return to the rest of the news in the country and then the address from Zelensky.
And the last one of this segment here is from Makara, who puts in a $20 donation and says, "Great job getting to over 220,000 donated. Would it be possible to run a charity stream with Funker? They have about 2,000 viewers on their Ukraine streams and have not raised a dollar to help."
Well, that's something. All right, I'm gonna have to be honest here. That's something I really don't want to do. I don't really agree with what Funker's been doing with his merchandise and stuff like that. It's very it's not something I agree with. When I do merchandise, I do it entirely channel based. I refuse to put anything Ukrainian on any of my merch. And the reason is that if I put something Ukrainian on my merch, I feel like I'm profiting off of their success, something I'm hardly attached to. If I put something on my merch that's entirely about the channel and not about Ukraine, I feel okay with it. And then on top of that, for the longest time, we of course stopped this because the sales aren't great, but we would donate 10% of those profits to a Ukrainian charity. And we, of course, this channel prides itself on its fundraising work for the most part. That's what I consider the pinnacle, I guess you could say best part of this channel is how much support we're able to raise through the participation of all of our viewers and also through like my efforts of trying to get this stuff happening. And I don't like what Funker's done with the merch, to getting back to that. He puts Ukrainian stuff on it, he sells it, and people buy it up because of course it's pro-Ukrainian, but at the same time, he's pocketing a whole bunch of that. And he's, as far as I know, not really giving much in support of Ukrainian organizations. I'm not trying to throw dirt at him or anything. I'm just saying I don't really want to get associated with that because I don't really feel like it's right, honestly. If you put something Ukrainian on your merch, I feel like 100% of the profits should be sent to a Ukrainian nonprofit or a fundraiser or something like that, because it doesn't seem right to be profiting off of a war such as this using imagery of the Ukrainian nation and then pocketing some of it. It doesn't seem right to me, and that's why I refuse to put Ukrainian stuff on my merch. So I don't think that I will be doing that, and it, I just don't really like that, and that's really all I can leave it at. And on top of that, him along with a couple of others. I'm not really sure about him though because I hardly watch his streams. I've just passed through them every once in a while and kind of been disappointed with like the whole merch thing and plugging, like the merciless plugs. Like that was the other thing, is that he gives these merciless plugs about his merch. And I'll do mine like once in a while, and when limited edition runs happen, of course, I mention it at the beginning of the stream, but I don't sit there and just run a merciless plug every 10 minutes, and then he does, and I don't like that because it feels really commercial and it doesn't really feel like it's focusing on the war. It feels like it's focusing more on a bottom line. So I don't really think I'd be doing one with him, but I do thank you very much for the support, and I hope that does answer the question. And so with that, we're going to move on to the last question of this segment, and then we're going to go to the Southern Front news and the address from the president.
Okay, and the next question is from Shoryu Chan, who puts in an $18 donation and says Russian T-14 tanks reportedly cost in excess of 3.7 million, roughly 20 times the price of a US-made Javelin anti-tank rocket, which comes in at around $175,000. As of 2021, Russia has 80 T-14s.
I don't think they have 80 T-14s. As far as I know, they only have 14 of them. T-14 Armada. Of course, these numbers are only an estimate, but let's see how many. So, according to Wikipedia, which of course, it can be wrong, it says there's believed to be around 20 of these. And one thing I know for sure is that the T-14 Armada has not entered a production series kind of like build. All of these T-14s that they produced are all prototype examples that they're still testing. And so on top of that, another thing is that the unit cost is 3.7 million. That's actually really shocking to me when you really think about it, because 3.7 million is around the cost of a T90M, which is a much more dated system, and it's built generally off of older stuff in the Russian military, like the T-72. The T-14 is entirely brand new. From what I know, the hull is brand new design. The turret is definitely brand new. The whole entire thing is automated. There's not a single crew member in it. Yet it only costs 3.7 million. And there's a lot of questions I have about this tank. There's not a lot known about it, and there's a very small number of them from what I know. So I don't think the T-14s will ever be used. And could you